right, all right, all right. I hope you guys are ready to make Monday your bitch like I am. Hope that doesn't offend anybody, but oh well, welcome to my world. That's what we like to do here. I'm gonna post it to Instagram. I do these things where I do some workouts or whatever, and I'll post it, and I'll ask my wife, I'm like, is this narcissistic for me to post this shit? She's like, no, you're showing progress. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see me posing a lot, not in weird ways, nothing like I'm not like sticking my dick out or anything like that. But it's like, like I'm not like one of these guys in a bikini or anything. So don't worry. You don't have to, have to worry about that. But no, I was I did weighted dips this morning. I've been doing dips 3 times a week now because my chest has been like exploding from that, and it's fucking amazing. I was thinking about that as I was getting ready to get on here. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna post that video and be like, this is how I make Monday my bitch. I go first thing to the gym and I do weighted dips and I do my back and all the stuff. And my God, man, the fact of just the more you do this stuff, the more you take care of yourself, the more you take care of yourself. And that is really, really what we're going to be talking about today. Because the fact of the matter is we can either choose to be people or men who decide to go all in on ourselves, or we can be fucking quitters. We can't be either. We can't be in the middle. We can't just be somebody who half-ass it. I was on my walk this morning, and for whatever reason, this is how things come to me is in movie form. And when you come to the event in November here, I don't want to, I almost keep saying Denver, but no, here in Gilbert, Arizona, the Arizona event, I'm going to be using some movie clips. But one of the particular movies that stuck out was that movie, Remember the Titans. I don't know that I'll use that specific one, but there's a part of the clip where they're in training camp and they're doing the up downs, and Denzel Washington, the coach, and he's on the floor with them. And as the guy's doing the up downs, he's tired. He's got sweat coming off him, and he's going fourth quarter, fourth quarter, fourth quarter, fourth quarter. And it got me thinking about we are entering into fourth quarter. We're entering into the fourth quarter of this season that we're in called 2025, right? And as we get to Q4, you know what happens? A lot of you coast. You start to coast. You start thinking about Christmas. You start thinking about Thanksgiving and eating good, right? You start thinking about Halloween candy, right? And we start to let go of the former. We start to let go of the things that we say we want. And you think about this is that if you are in pain, it ends up being a source of motivation. So many of you came to me because you were in pain and it was a source of motivation. But what happens is when the pain isn't as bad, what do? You quit. You quit. When the pain isn't as bad anymore, we go, well, I got nothing to really fight for because I'm not in as much pain. And that is what separates basic beginners from champions. See, champions, professionals understand that it's not about the pain that got you here that drives you. Some people use the chip on the shoulder thing, but I think that runs out over time. Ultimately, for you to be a true champion, for someone to truly be successful in life, it goes beyond the pain of motivation. It has to go to a place where you are so in love with the concept of fighting for who you want to be, the identity that you are fighting for. It's not what you're running from, but what you're running to. So many of you came here because you were running from something, not what you were running to. And then you get to this place where you don't have to run anymore from that thing because that thing is over and you get to decide. I still remember my call with Jeff Smoker a couple months ago where he got to the end of his journey in Thrive, and his marriage was over. He was done. And he said, I must continue. I was like, whoa, bro, I didn't even ask you. He's like, I must continue. And it wasn't about the business transaction to me of him continuing. What matters more than anything was about his desire to become this man who no longer has to rely on AA or has to rely on a former identity or has to rely on all these other things, but he becomes so free in himself that he becomes so free to be who he wants to be. That's what matters more than anything. That the pain of the marriage is over and that he can embrace the reality of who he is to become. You see, because what happens over time is we become complacent, and complacency is a trap. Complacency is a trap. Once the pain goes away, you have to decide how real is this shit. When you say, I want to become this new man, I want to change, I want to transform, when you tell that to myself or Francois or Preston, whoever you spoke to coming into this world, You say, I need to become this, I need to become that. Great, we love that. That's why you're here. That's why we brought you here. But as soon as the pain goes away, the reality of you sets in and you get exposed for who you really are, of whether or not you are actually telling the truth or you're a liar. And if you think about it, it sucks. Nobody wants to be called a liar. In fact, I think every man I've ever called a liar gets offended. And I say, well, don't worry, I'm a liar as well. We all lie. We lie about what we want because of the indiscerning inside of us, or the not being on the same page internally with ourselves. And so we create these stories and we tell those stories over and over again. Did you know that most guys come to me when they have a first conversation, they've pretty much rehearsed a story about their wife and their marriage. They've told their father, their pastor, their brother, their sister, their mother, everybody else this story about why everything's happening. And so when I hear that story for the 13th time, I go, hey, bro, you're lying. Maybe the truth is some of these things, and maybe what you're telling me actually did happen is the facts of it. But the idea is that if we can't own our shit, it doesn't matter what your wife has done. It doesn't matter how you're being treated, because the fact is you're not willing to take any ownership and integrity for yourself. And if you can't take ownership for yourself, you're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked. You have to tap into something that is greater than pain. And that greater is your identity. Ultimately, the men who are successful in here, the men who get the greatest return on their investment will tell you up, down, left, right, center. The JPJs, the Jeff Martins, all the guys that, and I'm just looking at certain faces, the Tims, the guys who will tell you that the reason they continue, it's not about empowered man. It's about their identity. And it's about their continuous desire for growth and to become the man they say they want to become. And the never being, there's no settling. There's no apex to this. There's no, I got there. I'm there. I've reached my pinnacle. I've reached the end. I did a training on that, I think, last year. There is no end. Now, obviously, you might come to an end with us, and that's okay. But in terms of your growth and your journey and who you are, the idea is to finish strong. It's about finishing strong. You can either finish strong or you quit. And both of them say more about you than you realize. The man who quits, that says a lot about him. The man who finishes strong says a lot about him. When I was a kid and I'd run a race, I wasn't very fast, but I'll tell you what, man, that last 50 yards, that last 50 meters, whatever it is, I was going to give my fucking all. I was going to give it everything I got. And even at 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, and even today, last week, I raced my baseball team. I like to mess around with them and tell them whoever can beat, if you can beat me, if everyone beats me, you stop running. I beat half the team. I'm 45 years old. I weigh 215 pounds. I haven't fucking run in 30 years. I haven't played baseball in 30 years. And I'm still faster than half those sixth, seventh, and eighth graders because I finished strong. That says something about me. It says something about my character. In baseball, what I teach the kids is run through the base. Anybody ever watch a baseball game and the guy just stops running as he gets closer to the base? No, that doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. If it does, they're a quitter, right? Anybody seen that where it's like the guy pops up and he just like jogs to the base? That annoys the shit out of me. Like, hustle through the ball. Why? Drop the ball. And now what? Now look at you. You've been exposed. Or I just saw recently, right? The kid, I don't remember, it was Washington University or something, and he gets an interception and goes for a touchdown, drops the ball on the 1 fucking yard line. That has got to be the worst. You not only did you not get the touchdown, but you turned it over to the other team. Guys, some of you are dropping the ball on the 1 yard line because you're not finishing strong. Because you've gotten in your own head about these things. And Ben's like, dude, I just got here. Now, I'm not talking to you, Ben, but I'm warning you, bro. Finish strong, right? It may not be to the some of you, Jose, who just got here, okay? But keep this in the back of your mind to finish strong, regardless of what that journey looks like for us. No matter what, finish strong. When you don't finish strong, your commitments lack integrity and ownership. Think about those of you that have jobs where you do a job and you do a service, you provide a service for somebody. Maybe you're a plumber, maybe you're an HVAC person, right? And if you do all of the job, 90% of the job, right? Rob does electrical stuff, installs 90% of the thing right, but the last 5 to 10% he just half-ass it, says, fuck it, I don't need to finish it. I'm gonna go get a beer. I'm gonna go do something else. Eventually it'll get done. And what happens? The client's not happy. Why? Because your shit don't work. If you don't caulk the thing in the plumbing, guess what? There's going to be water everywhere. It's going to leak. If you don't finish installing the HVAC system right, it's not going to work. It's not going to get cold. You're going to piss off your customers. If you don't finish strong, your commitments lack integrity and ownership. This is a big one for me. I can't fucking stand quitters. I just can't. I have zero respect for men who quit. Because here's the thing is you're not quitting on me, you're quitting on yourself. Think about that. Some of you are struggling with the temptation of quitting, meaning you just kind of coast. Like, you know what? I don't feel like doing assignments this week. I don't really feel like going to a call this week. I don't want to hear Mark say bullshit this week. I don't want to talk to K-Tuck this week. I'm just going to ghost. I'm just going to not respond. And hopefully they'll go away because I don't want to be called forward anymore. I'm tired of being called forward. Oh man, it's your life. At the end of the day, it's your life. I can't fight for a man who doesn't want to be fought for, and I won't. I'll call you for it. I'll tell you the truth. But if you don't want to be fought for, it's on you. I know the life I'm going to have. And I know that not everybody's meant to run the race that I'm running. There's very few that can run with me. That's why we're not meant to be 10,000 strong in this group. It's not going to happen. I don't want it to be. I'm looking for the few, the proud, the Marines, if you will, of this thing. If you That's what you are. Because 95% of men are saying no to this shit. They don't want to be accountable. They don't want to be called forward on their shit. They don't want to be the type of man who has integrity. They're afraid. They're afraid that they don't have what it takes. That's why most men say no. They say no, not because they don't think we can help them. They know we can help them, but they see it for you and you and you. They don't see it for them. They don't feel worthy. They don't feel like they're worth fighting for. That's fucking sad to me. That breaks my heart that a man would think so low of himself. Here's the thing is you can't have two minds if you want to be successful. You can't be of two minds. Something they say in English soccer or English football, for those of you Americans, English football, they say all the time is you can't be of two minds. What that essentially means is this, is that you have to make up your mind. You're either in or I follow them faithfully. I mean, I watch every match. There's a match tomorrow. I get up at 6 a.m. to watch their matches. I love it. And yesterday I'm watching, or Saturday I'm watching, and the goalie, his name's Okonkwo. He's a young goalie. He's not bad. He's good, but man, he got caught in the middle. Ball came over, and he had the opportunity to go and grab the ball before the offense or the striker could come and get it, and he stopped. And this happens to every single one of you. You're going to get caught in places where you're going to be of two minds, where you're going to be caught between an identity you want and an identity you've always known. And remember, we talked about this last week. We have to grieve that old identity. If I want to have the physique and the body that I believe I deserve to have, and I'm not talking six-pack abs. I just want a dad bod. Okay. If I believe that I need to have that because that's what I want, then I have to earn it. I can't just give up on it. I can't just go, well, you know what? You know how many times that's happened? Is the scale didn't move as much. I didn't lose as much weight. And so you get frustrated and you're like, well, fuck it. Why am I even doing this? But you keep why I'm more successful than 99% of the people in this world because I don't stop. I just keep going. You know how many times Empowered Man looked like it was dead? But I keep going. I keep going. I keep going. Why? Because there's insatiable desire in me to have the things that I say I want to have. Are there aspects of that dream that have changed? Absolutely. But the overall aspect of who I am and what I do in this world and how I help men has not changed one bit. And I'm here for it. Every time you quit, you are reinforcing an old identity. Every time you quit, you are reinforcing an old identity. Now, when I say quit, I'm not talking about graduating. There's a difference between the two. Graduating from something is I've mastered this thing and I'm moving on to the next thing in my journey. That's graduation. That's fine. And people, men will have that. You'll have that maybe here. You're like, we're not meant to have people for everybody for years. Like that's not always gonna be the thing. But most haven't. And most don't actually graduate. They just quit. They just stop showing up. They just stop doing the work because, again, the pain is no longer there. And they were only driven by pain. They were never driven by identity. So the man that's driven by identity knows that there is more for him and doesn't settle for the less than version of him, but only settles for that which is greater than who he is now. When you find yourself in that moment of wanting to quit, of wanting to just not show up anymore, not do an assignment, not get on the call, not go to the gym, not eat right, not take care of your job stuff, not show up for your family, not have that conversation with your wife, not lean into your kids. Are you just quitting? Because every time you quit, you're reinforcing the old identity. You're still a bad dad, that you're a people pleaser husband, that you're never going to actually overcome this shit because you're believing these lies. Here's the thing is that it comes back to, guys, is that you have to be honest with what you really want. You have to be honest with what you really want. Because so many men are not. They're just not. They make excuses. They tell you all kinds of bullshit. You know how many times I've heard guys tell me these stories on calls and conversations? Oh, brother, I really want to do this, but I got to do all this other stuff first. Cool. You'll be back? Yeah, right. It never happens. Why? Because we're lying to ourselves about what we truly want. And this is why I fight for you. Because I know that if you just quit, I'm giving you the out because that's what you're looking for. You want another man to validate you and say, yeah, it's okay. You can quit. Yeah, go for it. Quit. I don't care, but I do care. I care about you more as a coach than anything. Because my mission in this fucking world is to help men overcome all of this shit. Some guys don't really care about becoming a transformed man. They like who they are, just not some of the things they do. So once they get their wife back, they quit working on themselves. They start telling themselves stories that they don't need this work anymore because they got what they wanted and they don't feel pain. Bro, that is the easiest way to go backwards. I see some of my guys who got their wives back, some of the guys that didn't get their wives back, and are both shaking their head like, fuck yeah, because they know the truth of this. Because if you're only here because you're trying to get something from her, you are living from the wrong identity. You are of two minds, and you are never going to be fully successful. It has to be for you first. I get it, man. Every guy here, for the most part, wants their wife back. They want their situation changed. They want to be in a better relationship with their wife. That's what drew you to this in the first place. But the core, the identity piece, is what will drive you towards a life of freedom. Man, imagine what this world would look like if every man were free. It seems impossible, and maybe it is impossible. I don't know. But I was put on this earth to make that happen, to give some elements of freedom to some men. To the men that would say, yeah, I want to take that seed. I will take that and I will run with that. I will do something with it. This is why we have to surround ourselves with greatness. This is the importance of brotherhood. And even if you're in a Zoom in Kalamazoo, Michigan, to Hawaii, or to wherever the heck you guys are, because we're all over the country, Canada, Illinois, Indiana, New York, Florida, Minnesota. I'm just looking at this room. Like we represent a collective of men across this globe in a sense. I know we don't have a ton of international, just one, Norm, my Canadian brother, right? But we surround ourselves with greatness. And that is part of, stop it, Kevin. That is part of the genesis of it all is because when we can be surrounded with greatness, it empowers us. It gives us a vision to become more than what we are. I'm gonna show you like this is part of the greatness, but even in my office, some of you know my thing around collecting cards and things like that. And I'm going to walk through some of the greatness that I surround myself with. I have on my walls Mickey Mantle, all these different guys. Each of them have a purpose. This is Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith, the greatest running back of all time. I like to look at this and be reminded of what a guy who's 5'9" could do and have the greatest record in the history of the NFL as terms of a running back, which is the most yards ever. And I think he still has the touchdown record. That's one. This is Jimmy Braddock. You ever guys ever seen the Cinderella Man? This is the original Jimmy Braddock. His story meant something to me. That movie meant something to me. It said, even if you're down and out, even if everything's been taken from you, if you stay in the fight, you get to fight. And he stayed in the fight and he overcome against all odds and he continued to fight. And there he is. Here's another one, Mickey Mantle, 1956 tops. This is my first Mickey Mantle card, my favorite cards. It's a beautiful card representing him as a young 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid. At 19, got signed by the Yankees from Oklahoma, dumb hit kid as he called himself. The problem with this guy is he fucking ruined himself. Ruined himself. What did he do? He drank himself. He had bad knees, never got surgery. People don't realize this. He played his whole career with an ACL tear. Like he should have actually had ACL surgery and he never did. And he still hit 535 home runs. He still was one of the greatest baseball players. But then I look at this picture of him. This is the 1967 version of him. And you can see the beat down man that he was. You can see the drunk that he became. You can see the wrinkles in his face. And it's a reminder of who I don't want to be. And then finally, Roberto Clemente, Puerto Rican, first Latin American player to ever make it into the Hall of Fame. He died in 1973 taking goods to, I believe it was Nicaragua, who had just had a hurricane or something blow through, and he died in a plane crash taking stuff there. Guys, I surround myself with greatness as a constant reminder that I cannot settle, that I can be Jimmy Braddock, I can be Emmett. I don't want to fucking be Mantle. I want to be Clemente. I'm reminded of all these things, and I put myself in this place. And then I pour myself out to you, and I put myself in a place of accountability because that's who I want to be. I can't quit. What is quitting? Empowered man will never be quit. I will either graduate or I will go till I die. And that is the way it will be. How many of you can actually say that about your life? About what you are called to in this life? About what you do in your life? Because so many of you, you just go to a job, you just make it, you're just surviving, and you're not thriving. And this is the call forward to you. To look in yourself and go, is there more for me? Am I quitting? Am I quitting mentally because I got nothing to fight for? I got nothing to really live for. I'm losing my family. Guys, we've had guys in here in the boot camp and in Thrive who quit on themselves and take their own lives because their identity was so wrapped in their marriage that they literally off themselves because of this shit. Because they had no other identity to live for other than their family. The shame they felt overtook them and they quit. They quit on themselves, they quit on their family, and they quit on you and me. So there's so much more here, guys. There is so much more here for you if you choose to go that route, that road. And I know not all of you are going to. Some of you are going to go, yeah, this is great. 3 months from now, you're going to be like, I'm out. I quit. It's too hard. I can't do any more push-ups. I can't. I just can't take it, brother. I just can't take it. You know how many times I've heard that? A lot. Because men are mentally weak. And I'm not for everybody. I get that. But know this is my heart is for you. My heart is to help you become the man you say you want to become until the day you tell me no. If you say no, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be that guy. All right, I release you. But until you say no, I'm gonna be in your face. And I'm gonna be like, dude, you got this. You can fucking do this. Fourth quarter, fourth quarter, fourth quarter, fourth quarter, fourth quarter, fourth quarter. End zone is for pussies. Fourth quarter, end zone is for pussies. It's only hard because we make it hard. It's how we see it.